Mr. Sean Reaver. We are super excited to have you today, man. This has been a long time coming, and we're really excited to have this conversation today. So, we're going to jump in and ask you a ton of questions here and there. But just to start things off, why don't you tell the world a little bit about yourself, your background, military background, real estate background, and Spiros and I will start throwing some hard questions at you along the way.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm really appreciate the opportunity to be on the podcast. I know we've been all over the White Feather Mastermind. It's really good to get to know each other. So a little bit about me. So I went to Naval Academy College, played football, never lost to Army. So I know that's already a starting theme on here. So 4-0 against Army during my time at the Naval Academy.
I won
After
my football
graduation,
team. I won my
Oh
Navy
man,
team, bro.
there we go. I knew Spirits would be in something Navy, so had to bring that up. So after graduation, I went Marine Corps. I was a logistics officer in the Marine Corps, so just flying logistics. I was down in Lejeune the whole time, and then kind of where real estate investing came in. Kind of funny enough, senior year on spring break, me and a bunch of my friends, we went down to Destin, Florida, rented a house on the beach, like had a great time, and then like on our way back, we're like gotta figure out how we can do this every year and keep this going. Um, and then so we're like, oh, you just buy a house and rent it out. Like, how does that work? Like, obviously someone owns these houses. So I just started kind of Googling and looking at podcasts and stuff, stumbled upon Bigger Pockets, felt Rich Dad Poor Dad, and kind of the rest is history from there. And
That's
we,
cool. That's cool. How many
yeah,
how many folks went down to Destin to rent the house?
I think we had like 10 to 12 dudes. It's like the 3 bedroom house. It was awesome. We were just packed in there.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having your rental and having like 12 college football players
Yeah.
descend
Sean's
on your
party is
place?
Yeah.
the exact nightmare for every host around the world, every Airbnb host around the
I'm a,
world.
So
yeah, and I'm
so
a pretty
so
I'm
real
a pretty
quick.
big
So
guy, but I said all my
well,
friends are like
I was
I'm the medium sized guy in my friend group. So
Oh man,
with some
that's
with some big
awesome.
boys in there.
so I was gonna say, Sean, I've met you on Zoom calls, right, with our real estate
Mhm.
accelerator that we do together. And on video, you look like like kind of a normal dude, right? And then so I look up Sean Reaver in preparation for the podcast, and I'm like, bro, 6'4", like 240 pounds. This dude's a walking rock, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was I think
That's
senior year
awesome.
going into football season, I was like 275, and then obviously afterwards going to
Holy
Marine Corps I had
cow,
to lose all that weight, so I just didn't eat for those
Nice.
3 months after football, and it was like crazy how much losing that weight. Like it's just like walk upstairs and like breathe. It's like Fox music.
that's awesome.
So
All right, Sean,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about
go ahead, Spiros.
the football experience, man. Obviously that's every little boy's dream, right? To grow
Yeah.
up and play college football, be on TV. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
It was awesome. I kind of always like to start like whenever I talk about this. Like, so in high school, when I was getting recruited. Every college comes at least talks to you once, and so you're getting to see all these schools. They don't really offer anything, but I'm like my only goal in high school is like I'm gonna play D1 football. I'm gonna play the highest level I can. It is, and I'm from Maryland and I don't really have a military family, so I didn't really know what the academy was, even though I lived in Hawaii. So I got like letters and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to play. I'm not going to the military. Then finally down an official visit, and I went looked at the academy, talked to them, and they're like, "Yeah, we played Notre Dame every year." I was like, "Notre Dame?" I'm like, "I just have to sit on a boat for 6 months in the Mediterranean, like one time. I'm in. I'm in. Sign me up." um,
That's awesome.
so that on top of the education and stuff that they talked about, and how we be set up for our future, and all the other prestigious stuff that they always talk about with it, was a really hard sell. So I was really excited to get involved. But I mean, football is incredible. I mean, like I said, we play Notre Dame every year. Obviously, Army Navy game is incredible. Playing Air Force is awesome.
Mhm.
We played against Pitt when Aaron Donald was there. We played Ohio State the year they won the national championship, and like Braxton Miller and like Joey Bosa and those guys. So we played some really big football. And my senior year, we went 11-2 and finished 18th in the country.
Nice.
That's
Had
awesome.
Tina Towns as the quarterback, so that was really fun to be part of.
Yeah, that's got to be some incredible memories, man. So,
Yeah.
by the way, two Navy guys against one Army dude on this call. Just saying. Yeah. I'm feeling good about my chances, Mike.
I will
I
say I'm
don't know.
probably the best looking guy on this podcast right now, so I feel good about that and having the army on my
It's not
side there.
me. It's definitely one of you two.
No,
It's not me. So.
no, but Sean, I hear what you're saying. That the last 2 years I was at West Point teaching, so I got to be a little bit part of the Army Navy rivalry and beat it.
Mhm.
Beat Navy, sink Navy, all that good stuff, and but it just outside of that, just it was an awesome atmosphere just to be a part of the games and be a part of the rivalry, and I can imagine actually being on the field and having those teammates by you. So I would imagine some lifelong memories. And why don't you tell us a little bit? I would imagine that your time at the Naval Academy and your time in the Marine Corps kind of helped you along the way in the real estate career, and kind of your background, and thinking through deals, and kind of the leadership and the mentality and the things that you have from being in the military. So
Mhm.
if you don't mind, and I'm sure Spiros and I can touch upon this as well, but just a little bit about that and kind of how that's helped you along your way throughout your journey.
Yeah, I think the big thing that really kind of helps carry over into real estate is like just kind of that grit you either learn or you're forced to learn while you're at the and in the military, especially playing football. And playing football in college, it's your day. You have your day structured down to 15-minute increments, and you wake up pretty much until the time you go. And there's a lot of days you don't feel like going to class, you don't feel like going to practice, you don't feel like going to work, or you have to do it. You have to have good grades. You have to, you have to play well. You have to do all of those things, and you don't really have time to. You don't really have the opportunity to not do those. So you just kind of continue to force yourself to do it, be disciplined about it. And I think that carries over into like kind of later in life when I started investing in real estate. Like I'm not full time real estate, like side right now. Eventually, I'd like to be full time, but in the military, full time job. Um, took a lot of time. Had 2 months. Still trying to swallow it. Now I was super busy with device job where I'm driving all over the place. ORs, labs. When I after long on my feet and I have to remember feel like sitting down and writing. But I still that's what's going to get me to the next step. So I
Right.
think that's probably been the biggest thing. That's been helpful. It's just really just constant. Never, really never. Because once you stop making progress.
Right.
Yeah. So you just used a key word, right? Daily action.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I think that's what we're all learning as we kind of go through this real estate journey together, right? Is that um, without the action piece, right? It's just a bunch of manipulation of Excel spreadsheets, running through Zillow all the time. And at the end of the day, what's the point? It's a waste of time. You take some action. And I think probably for the three of us, I think you guys had some pretty decent little bit of real estate experience when I jumped into this at 49 years old. I had only bought and sold homes that I lived in, and we've got like a second home and stuff like that. But this whole idea of underwriting and calculating cash flows and internal rates of return, all that stuff was pretty foreign to me. But yeah, I think the key for me, taking that word from you, is just daily action, right? Daily repetitions, which I would imagine, right, is all about what your football career was like. It's like daily rep, right? Doing the work, putting the work in, making it hurt, so that when it comes game time, you're ready to go, right? And I definitely see a lot of parallels between sports and real estate.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. I,
And I mean, I just to touch upon one thing, Sean, real quick, like exactly what Spiros and I said when we first started this. This is real talk. This is not the pill to get rich real fast. This is not the easy way. Like you can be successful and you can make this a living and you can, get financially free and have freedom. But it's exactly what Sean said. It's working a W-2 job, working 8 hours. And when you come home, putting the family to sleep and making dinner and hopping back on the computer while everyone's asleep because you have some quiet time to start looking at Zillow and looking at Realtor and start running some deals. So it's not you're not going to walk into this and just be financially free. It's you got to do the legwork. You got to listen to the podcast. You got to listen to the books. You have to have the education behind it before you can start just throwing money at things.
Mhm.
Right. Right. What is your Sean? I'm curious, and this will be a question for you, Mike, too. What do
Yeah.
your spouses think of this whole real estate thing? Are they bought in? Are they on board, or are they looking at you like, dude, you're freaking crazy?
Both.
Yeah.
My wife just inherently thinks I'm crazy, which is fair, but no, she's super supportive. She gets it. We had a lot of conversations. She knows my office at night, like if we have it's like getting ready for bed and I'm in here, like she's like in here just keeps doing stuff. Like I'm
Right.
trying to help set us up for a better future. Like I said,
Hmm.
underwriting deals. We currently have a deal under contract, and make sure everything's in line for that. People, it's like all that stuff that's not really fun. Doesn't
Yeah.
really fire me up to be up to 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night, like for stuff. But she gets it for a purpose, and she's super supportive.
Right.
Just
And
kind
yours,
of like anything I need, she's there for.
your business is a family deal too, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So my parents, brother, sister, and I mean, we've been buying real estate since 2017. We started off like really small. It's like this 100-year-old like little 5 unit up in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. That was like falling apart when we bought it. In hindsight, probably shouldn't have, but with the market, everything worked out. So yeah, work with them. Me and my brother he's getting a CPA, so he does a lot of like the financing piece, and like he's really good. My sister, she's actually just started medical school, but she's like as we start, she's helpful in like medical and like makes sense and being needs to find stuff because my brother and I kind of like like now like, let's just get stuff done, and then we're like, oh, I need to go find that thing, and that's just or we do a different way. So she helps us be a little smarter about it. Um, and then my parents, they have a commercial glass company that they've had for 30+ years. So just their operational experience and like leadership from actually running small business, kind of selling some frames out of like what like it's really someone like let's call it the mentor.
That's awesome. What about you, Mike?
Yeah.
What does your wife think about your real estate endeavors?
My wife's on board. She was a little hesitant when we bought our first flip, and I emptied our bank account from our all of our wedding proceeds to buy the house. But once we got into it and we started, seeing the potential and started rolling after a few years, she's 100% on board. She gets tired of me with listening to a bunch of audiobooks and podcasts on long drives, but she's definitely on board. And I think that's super important for your spouse, your partner, whoever it is, to be on board with you. Just because that really relieves a level of stress, or just kind of a burden off your shoulder that you don't need to worry about someone who's constantly kind of like always nagging in your ear, or doesn't want you doing a certain thing. So I think, and Sean, I'm sure you probably agree, it's super helpful to have have your partner on your side and kind of just be in your corner with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think the sport and the goal I don't know if I'd be able to, especially after a long
All right, Sean,
day.
for sure. Tell us, all right,
Yeah, she's like, yeah,
tell us about this deal that you're working on right now. How I want to know the nitty gritty, how you found it, how you taught yourself, how you learned about syndication, all that good stuff. This is important right here.
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess the deal itself right now, I guess hopefully I'll knock on wood. I'm not sure when this podcast will come out, but by
Yeah,
next Friday we should be closed on a 33 unit apartment complex in Greenville, North Carolina.
freaking awesome.
Super excited for it. We've been under contract since
Congrats.
the very end of July. Yeah, thank you. It was a spiritual experience getting it this far, but we made it there. So yeah, we're doing a syndication. We're doing like a 506B. So that's been a learning experience too with our attorney trying to get all like the SEC paperwork correct and everything like that. But I just said a lot of like big words that some of the listeners might not know. But it's all of this stuff is it's a lot of information. It's easy to learn, and that didn't just happen overnight. I mean, I feel like most people like YouTube University, every single podcast, and like real estate book. It's kind of how I learned everything. This will be the second mastermind. It's the accelerator is the second mastermind I've been in. And I've learned a ton from the previous one I did and this one, and just being surrounded with people who have done it. So it's not an overnight thing. I always say real estate's hard, but it's simple. You can get really complex in the nitty gritty, especially like when you start It's not different. You structure a deal a different way, but I mean, really, it's you can get as deep as you want to.
Can you
But
sort of define syndication for the listeners that maybe don't have the definition of that? Just real basic.
yes. So syndication is when like a group of managing members or general partners, they find a deal and then they open it up to other investors to invest passively in the deal. So like for this deal, it's we're buying for $3.35 million and we're raising like $1.5 million. We're bringing investors money. We have a bunch of people who are investing anywhere from 25,000 up to $350,000 just because they want to be invested in real estate, but they don't want to be the ones talking to property managers, dealing with toilets, like doing the bookkeeping, worrying about leases. So it's a passive way for investors to invest in someone who's like actively to get in real estate investing.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
hey,
mean,
Mike's the lawyer, so
you grab
there are no legal advice on the podcast.
you grabbed my wife's some of my wife's retirement money. So hey, good on you.
yeah,
She's a pretty
definitely. No, I'm excited to have her on. Yeah,
you were able
That's
to
freaking
if you were
awesome.
able
wow.
to take some of her money, good on you for sure.
Yeah,
All
it took
right,
some of Mike's
Sean.
too. So I'm
Yeah, he
trying
took
to
some
make
of
your
mine
wife and
too.
Mike trying to get you guys on trying to get you guys on some bigger boats here soon.
I
Yeah,
love it.
that's right.
Sean,
That's right.
that's so cool, man. I want the listeners to be able to follow your journey though. So how do you go from in an Airbnb with 10, 12 football buddies to raising $1.5 million for a syndication? Like to walk us through a little bit of the in between, kind of how you feel comfortable going out and raising 1.5
Mhm.
million over the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, so I think the one word there I want to address, how to feel comfortable doing it. I did. As soon as I sent that offer in, I was terrified, and then they accepted the offer, and I was like, oh crap, now I have to do this. Like that's going to be a stretch. So
Right.
if you're doing what you're supposed to do, I believe like you shouldn't be comfortable. Like if you're uncomfortable,
Right.
that means you're growing and growing that way. So I guess from the start, like I guess my first investment, just like probably most people who have gotten into real estate at all, is like I did a house hack after I got out of TBS, went down to Camp Lejeune, bought a house and then rented out all the rooms to three other buddies. So that kind of cut that expense out. Wasn't really cash flowing anything, but like all my BEH was hitting my bank account and it wasn't going anywhere. I was like, this is awesome. I'm the world's greatest real estate investor. This is awesome.
Right.
Um, so that kind of solidified all the thoughts and stuff I've heard in podcasts, I've read in books up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then that summer, our family, we bought that 5 unit up in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It was like falling apart. Like that was nothing but headaches. I kind of taught the patience. We bought another 3 unit in Frederick, Maryland, which was just about as old, a little less headaches, but did that. And then kind of just over the year, buy a property two every other year and kind of started there. Five we got a portfolio of like 5 duplexes, another 6 in hometown, and then in 2021, right when I was like out of the military, I was to look at apartment buildings because I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy into this whole like scale and like buy bigger properties, better for the cash flow, get more upside, all those other good things from podcasts. Um, so I found 18 unit in outside Charlotte, North Carolina, and just in Gastonia that broke me off market and kind of this breaker. And I went and poured probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 deals with him before he sent me this one. A couple on market, they were the ones that no one else wanted, but I kind of showed up, showed the underwriting, building up those communications with him. Kind of had pretty like constant cadence of like reaching out to him. He sent me a property that sent him my underwriting, my thoughts, and so that kind of helped build that trust and open those communications. Then he sent this 18, and the numbers work. So we ended up going under contract, bought that, and closed in December of 21. And then 22 was a busy year personally, so we didn't buy any list. We moved back to Maryland, bought a new house, we fixed it. Wife
Awesome.
and I, we started a new job, so it was like there was a ton going on. So kind of
Right.
I kind of got off the rails from the real estate thing. We focused on like getting what we had, and then now that we felt sure I'm gonna ramp it back up. And same broker that I got the 18 from brought me this 33 unit off market, and they had it under contract for his clients before, but it fell out. Got an investor back out like last minute with who had a majority of the equity. So kind of like scrambling they don't like the marketing and all the associated with that one because these sellers wanted a quick close.
Sure.
So that's how I ended up getting it.
I
You
have so many
brought up
questions,
another.
Spiros. You want to
Yeah.
jump in, or
Yeah, I've got one. You brought up a term that we all hear about, off market, right? So
Mhm.
everyone, there seems to be a general consensus that, if you really want to do well in real estate, you have to pursue off market deals, right? So can you kind of define in your mind what an off market deal is, and then tell our listeners, how do you pursue off market deals, and maybe how can they learn to do the same?
Yeah. So I mean, off market deal to me is it's anything that's not listed in Zillow, Redfin, all that. So you're going to find even like Loop, see any of those powerful sites. It's
Yeah.
that it's wants to sell and maybe your broker knows about it, publicly available. And then for me, so I know there's a lot of different ways to off market. Cold calling, like a lot of people wholesaling, like all the market properties. Frankly, I don't really have I don't think I have the bandwidth to do that really. That kind of stuff's like me as people. Um, so kind of how I've gotten these off markets, found a couple of brokers and built pretty good relationship with them. I've shown them I'm serious, and then now when something kind of comes up in like my buy box in the market, so I think that's probably the best way. I'm sure that I'll find because it's a lot of work for them to put it on the see make all these phone calls. People reach out to them. About 5 of them are actually serious. So if they can find like a serious buyer who they know is going to close, like they're going to start.
Nice.
That's so huge. The fact that, and just building the relationship, right, Sean, that and doing one successful deal shows that broker now, hey, I'm a serious buyer. If you have something that fits into my buy box, like you said, I'm ready to roll. Like that, let's not waste time.
Yeah,
I'm serious. We've done the deal, and that's so huge in real estate.
yeah. And it's a lot of work too. I think people are just like, oh, I found this broker, and I told them exactly what like they must not do. So you don't really like you haven't like shown them that you're serious.
Right,
You
right.
need if they send you something, you need to give them feedback within 24 hours. Especially if you use it, if it's strictly going to be an investment. Like here's writing, here's the price, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Share your underwriting with them so they can kind of start to see what you're looking for, where you're thinking. Or you may
That's
not be a pro at
huge.
underwriting, and they might be like, hey,
Right.
you're off here. Like, no, the taxes are
Mm-hmm.
22,000, something like
That's
that.
that.
So then you can start putting you're talking about specific properties. Pick
that
things, and then you just keep
right.
going. Walk property.
That's so
That's a big one.
right. That's so important, man. Like just sharing that information with the broker or the realtor to show them that you can speak the language, or at least that you're taking the time out of your day to spend run the numbers, look at the calculations, look at the area, and say, hey, listen, I appreciate your time and giving me this property and sending me this listing, but here's the analysis that I did. It's just not going to work at this price, and here are the reasons why. You gain so much respect with the other person on the other end when you do that, for sure.
Yeah,
Hold
So,
on.
and
I have so many questions for you, Sean.
yeah.
Okay. You say you're house hacking, right? Just explain real quick what a house hacking is, and then I want to ask a follow-up question once you explain what house hacking is.
Okay, yes. So house hacking is like you buy a house to live in as your primary residence, and you part of it out. And some people can do this like duplexes up to quadplexes. I just did a single family house that had 4 bedrooms. So I got a bedroom and then
And
3 bedrooms
Sean, how
to my best
easy
friends.
was it? How easy
No
was it?
brainer. It was like
It's
wait,
so
it was my
easy.
friends were like yeah, because I lived with like 3 of my best friends who were states and they were like, yeah, below market rent. All my best friends like, yeah, sign me up.
And all right, so
that's
Sean, at this time, are you an active duty Marine when you're house hacking?
Oh yeah, fresh second lieutenant. I had no idea what I was
Okay.
doing at my job.
Did
Showed up.
did you use
Regular.
did you use the VA loan?
I did.
So easy.
Man, you're like
It's
you're like a 5-star recruit, dude. That's awesome. You're hitting all the points.
It's funny too. I I was so confused when I walked on. So I bought the house, used the VA loan, and I didn't know, I had no idea how this happened. So when I walked away, it closed. Like I got a check, it closed for like $600. Paid $600 to buy a house. It's the best day ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think
It's it's
that
so
just lit the
easy.
fire even more. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And then I think, Sean, you were just talking a little bit about your journey after you house hacked. And I mean,
Hmm.
what I was hearing was you weren't hitting home runs, right? But you were buying properties, you were learning the language, you were dealing with brokers, you were dealing with realtors, you were dealing with lenders, you were sitting at the closing table, and you were just getting experience, and you were
Yeah.
slowly but surely just building and building and building. And at least in my
Hmm.
mind, that gets you prepared, ready to raise 1.5 million and take down a 33 unit of a complex. You might not feel completely comfortable, but I know you've been in the last 3-4 years slowly, surely, short of like hacking at the wood. I'm hacking, and now I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I think too. I think you hear all these people talk about like how awesome they are at real estate investing, and how much experience they have. They don't usually talk about how things. Those first two properties, like we bought, we like it was awesome for the first 2 or 3 years. It took a long time. Like there was a ton of different. It's like we didn't know how to work with managers, right? Like we didn't know how to kind of manage the managers. So
Hmm.
those first 2 years were like super stressful, and like things weren't going well. So we had to we even had to pull some like outside money. Like we had to like pull our money into we basically capital called ourselves to like do some like required renovations so we could get things even rentable. Um, and it finally turned the corner, but like lessons wise, I never bought those properties or that price because I didn't really know what I was looking for, what it was. Now because of those experiences, like this 18, this 33, like I know every little thing to like. I'm sure there's some stuff I'm still missing, but like
All right.
for 95%, I know exactly what to look for and where like the cracks are going to be, and really, we know what's expensive. So that's saving us a long run, just because you
Sure.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing too, and back to what you had said earlier about daily action,
Mhm.
there's this balance between, taking daily action, getting out of your comfort zone, making some mistakes, but in the long game, right, it benefits you, right? Because you learn a whole lot more from your mistakes than you do from home runs. I'm curious, for those of us that maybe don't have, cash in the bank and we want to get into real estate, right? There's this intimidation level of
Mhm.
going out talking to people and trying to make a good deal, when in the back of your mind you're like, I don't have enough money to put down on this property, or I don't have the buying power to go do all this. So obviously, and we don't need to get into all the technical ways that you can buy properties with no money down and all that stuff. There's plenty of that,
Yeah.
and there's podcasts and books to read about that. But my question for you is, and for you too, Mike, is like,
Hmm.
how do you get over that fear factor of the lack of confidence that you might have when you're having those first conversations, when you're trying to make offers, when you're trying to get to that daily action? There's got to be something that in your mind you're like, I'm doing it anyways, I'm going to do it anyways, even if I fall flat on my face and I embarrass myself, I'm still going to jump into it because I believe in this.
Mhm.
How do you get past that kind of initial fear factor?
Yeah, I think the first step for me before I started like talking about it with other people was like I got educated. I need, you know, I knew what I was talking about. Like I
Right.
said, I keep saying I read all the books, all the podcasts. Like there's only so much out there until you feel like you know probably most of it. Or you can
Sure.
speak to most of it. So I think getting educated is the first step. But I think after that point, it's really you need to kind of it's like asking somebody for money, or like you're not asking them for something, you're presenting them with an opportunity. I'm sure whoever you're talking to, if they're actively investing, they're probably not sitting home at from 9 to 11 every night looking at properties.
Right.
They might have some money sitting around. If you're the one who's going to bring them the deals and show them that you're actually interested in it and have an opportunity for them, I think that makes the conversation a whole lot easier, as opposed to like them like
Yeah, for sure. What you just said is a golden nugget. It's not about asking somebody for money. It's about offering them an opportunity. And if you educate yourself and you know that it's an opportunity, then you do kind of just develop some innate confidence to say, hey, man, I know you, I care about you, and I want you to have the same opportunity that I have. And then the conversation, right, takes on
Mhm.
a little bit of a different context. It's not, you know, it's not Spiros out begging for dough. It's Spiros out talking to the people that he knows, that he cares about, and trying to show them something that he believes in, right? And is an opportunity for them. So very, very cool. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Mike, how did you get past the sort
Yeah,
of
and I
that
just
initial fear factor of getting into it?
100%. And then I want to tie it into something that Sean said because it's still true to this day. Even when I did my first deal, I was super nervous. I listened to every single podcast that I could find on the internet. I read every single book. I read every single blog forum post on Bigger Pockets probably twice. And I was still nervous, right? I felt confident and educated, but I was still nervous. Like, oh, wait a minute, you guys actually accepted my deal, and my offer. And I think the nervousness is good. I think it means, you're alive, things can happen. But the reason I love real estate so much is because you're in control. It's not the stock market where you're buying a stock and the stock can go up, it can go down. You run the numbers, you put the offer price, and you set the parameters of where you want this deal to work. Yeah, things can go wrong. A rehab can go up, can be more expensive than what you expected. You can have a foundation issues, et cetera, et cetera. But that's why you do the work up front. You get the inspectors, you get a good due diligence period, and you control the deal. If you don't want to do it and you're in your time frame, get out of the deal. Don't do it, right? And I think what's important is, to this day, like I just left. I was looking at a flip yesterday, and we were thinking about making an offer on the house and going back and forth with the realtor, and I was still getting nervous. Even after doing a handful of deals, I'm still getting nervous, and I'm like, oh man, should I really do this? I don't know. So I don't think it ever goes away, Spiro. But I think it's the more you do it, obviously you get more comfortable. But I think you need to be nervous, and you need to have that comfort of, okay, that feeling of, this might go wrong, but I feel so confident in my numbers and my education and my research that I might be a little nervous that they accept it, but I'm confident that I'm going to be able to come out on top of this.
Sure. So Sean, it sounds like a lot of your real estate activity is sort of in near where you live, in the Mid Atlantic. Is it? Do you have any desire to kind of expand more nationwide and have that kind of a reach, or do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, I think personally, I think I'm trying to narrow my focus into the few markets I'm interested in here in the Mid Atlantic, and I live in Maryland. Lived in North Carolina, for 5 years in the Marine Corps, so I'm pretty familiar with this market. Every like the well, people are still moving there, there's stuff going there, so like real estate, especially like really. Um, I'm just trying to stick to multifamily apartments in these markets. I think I could be interested in some Airbnbs, like across across the country in cool places, but those would be something like Airbnb. So,
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
but I'm not there yet. I'm kind of fully the multifamily. You know, I
Very
think
cool.
Yeah, and
Very cool.
I
yeah,
think
and
that's important too, Sean, because that probably saves a lot of your time where you're not just on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor looking at a million different properties. You have this box. This is what you're looking for. This is my criteria, and if it's in this criteria, I'll start digging through underwriting. If not, I'm not going to waste my
mhm,
time.
exactly. When I first started the official mental just apartments. I'm like
Right.
trying to do 15 and 40 units. And then it
Mm-hmm.
didn't matter if it was in Pennsylvania or Florida, if it was it's like I would write it, and then thanks to my property managers, the team there, you that broker that you just so it's just a whole lot of like busy work. Like you're writing from like it was really this
Right.
now that I know what I want, it's just a waste. It's just a waste away from the actual.
Sure.
I have a question for Sean and Spiros. Why real estate? Why not a different type of passive income? Why not a laundromat, a car wash? Like why is real estate investing?
I mean, so what is it, 85%, 90%? Don't quote me on the stat, but it's like, 90% of
Yep.
every millionaire has real estate. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but 90% of all the wealthiest people in the world have real estate. Actually, means there's something there. I think from you get cash flow, you get appreciation when the market goes up, and on commercial you can get forced appreciation by increasing that how it actually operates as a business. And then you get all the tax benefits too. So it kind of puts with you, and it's not as cyclical as like you said the stock market.
Hmm.
Even some small business stuff. If the economy's down and you're like a nice like a high end like landscape, there might be some people who are cutting landscape down. So
Right.
people always need a place to live. It's a quality
Right.
place to live. Um, so I think it's it's safe and it's also has a side. As long as you're smart about manage
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
almost a guarantee.
Right.
I think for me, it's a great question. I think for me, it's just, it boils down to a very basic understanding. I understand like where I want to live, why I want to live there. I understand, the ins and outs of what it takes to live somewhere, what it takes to keep it up, and that sort of thing. Um, I think there's a lot of opportunities out there in small business. I have a small business of my own. We market, semiconductor technology, right? Well, over the years, I've become a subject matter expert in semiconductor technology. I really understand it. I understand how the technology moves. I understand how the money moves around the technology. And to me, real estate, it's very intuitive for us humans, right? Because we got to live somewhere. And we've lived in a lot of different places, and we've probably lived in a few places that we didn't like. Um, and we know why we didn't like it. We probably lived in some other places that made us feel very comfortable and safe and fulfilled. And you know why that happened, right? So I just kind of feel like real estate is sort of a natural for everybody. Everybody's
Hmm.
got some basic knowledge about um, what it takes to build a house, build a home for you and your family or whatever. So to me, it's one of those things. Yeah, there's a ton of education that you have to do to understand the technical aspects of investment, right? But the base, like the foundational commodity behind real estate, is something all of us know very well from the time we were kids, right? You can even go back to your childhood experiences and say, "Hey, I really enjoyed living in that house or in that apartment, or in that town," or I didn't. So there's so much, I think, in our memory and in our experience that really can make you a great real estate investor. Whereas, other businesses, I think, like you said, a laundromat, like I, you know, I don't, I mean, I can wash my clothes. I don't know how well I do at it, how good I do at it. But, it's just not as intuitive to me. And the stock market for me is just like it's PFM. We all know what PFM stands for. I won't list out the acronym here on the podcast, but it's magic. It goes up, it goes down, and you don't know why.
Thank you for not listing it out, Spiros. This has to be safe for kids when I upload it to YouTube. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I echo both of what you guys said. Also, for me personally, I've spent so much time in on the research and education portion of real estate that I just don't want to start a different journey. Like I don't want to learn how to run a business. I don't want to learn the language of another thing. I don't want to learn the stock market and the different types of options and all. I know real estate. I've learned it. I've listened to it. I continue to learn and from great people like yourselves and different, masterminds and like that. So I just feel comfortable with it. And I feel like I'm in control in real estate. So that's kind of why I like it. All right, Spiros, you have any other questions or we can close it out with Sean with one final question?
yeah. I have one kind of big picture question for Sean. So, you're a young guy, man. Tell us where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you want to be?
Awesome question.
Ooh, 5 years. So I think I would like to be in a position with real estate where if I want to, I can step away from my job and there's no change in my lifestyle. I like my job. Pretty, it's really interesting. It's pretty purposeful and mission driven. So I actually have that's my job now. But 5 years from now, wife and I don't have kids, but that's in the future. So I would like to have optionality to where if I want to step away and spend more time with the family or go full time in on real estate, that the real estate that I buy between now and then allows me to get to that point. Um, then after that, kind of continuously through that, it's real estate portfolio. I am interested in small business stuff, especially stuff that you can directly integrate to like align with your real estate goals. You
Yeah.
Hmm.
know, um, kind of make it like a nice ecosystem for where you invest in. And also just kind of continue to, or I guess really kind of expand on like getting back and like going stuff with others, helping others learn, being able to do like charities and volunteer and stuff like that. So I think that's about the next 5 years.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right, Sean. Last question, and we'll close this thing out. What is one piece of advice you give to a new real estate investor, a newly commissioned officer in the military, a service member around the world, someone who's working, a W-2 job like yourself, like the three of us? What's some advice that you would give somebody just starting out and kind of getting them along their real estate journey?
Yeah, and then there's like 10 things that just came to mind, but I think the biggest and kind of the theme of this whole podcast is like don't let discomfort or fear get in the way of getting started. If I had the same mindset I had now back when I was a student, I would have owned every single house in the village, been with yacht right now.
Right.
So I
Right.
think you need to take the first step. You need to start sending offers and keep sending offers until you get the right property, and then just rinse it and repeat, and you start to get a lot of people, and then you're going to be so much further along with this journey and get over your fears. Because it isn't taking out 200,000 loan that the $250,000
Right.
name at 20 whatever years old. It's terrifying. It works
Right.
out. Just do it.
Yeah. Awesome.
I love it.
Man,
I
I've
love it.
heard things today like
All right, Mr.
daily action,
Yeah.
purposeful. I've heard mission driven. Sean's like a treasure trove of
Like a
motivational.
He really is.
corporate slogan guy.
But besides being on the Navy football team and being a Marine, this has been fantastic, and this was a really awesome this was a really awesome speech, a really awesome talk. And Sean, I know I speak for Spiros, and we can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy day and sitting down and talking with us. And we hopefully have you back on the podcast in the future, and we could talk about the deal that you're going through right now and kind of everything you've learned throughout it, and see where you are in a few
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for having me. This was a lot of fun. So I'm always open. Always good to
Awesome.
us.
Awesome.
Awesome. Go
Thanks,
Navy.
Sean. Appreciate it.
Go Navy.